Did you know that over 45% of people claim to have experienced a paranormal encounter? Some hear whispers when no one is around. Others see shadows moving in the corner of their eye. But the scariest stories are the ones where the ghosts don't just haunt a place, they haunt you. Maybe you felt it before. That sudden chill down your spine, like something or someone is watching you. Maybe you've heard a voice calling your name in an empty room. Or maybe, just maybe, you've woken up in the dead of night, feeling an unseen presence standing right beside your bed. Some say ghosts are just lost souls, wandering between worlds, searching for closure. Others believe they are something much darker, entities that feed on fear, spirits that refuse to be forgotten. Tonight, I'm going to tell you a story so chilling, so terrifying, that you might start questioning everything you thought you knew about the paranormal. Because once you open the door to the spirit world, there's no going back. Are you listening? There's something about the dark that unsettles us. Maybe it's because we fear what we can't see. Maybe it's because deep down, we know we aren't really alone. Throughout history, every culture has told stories of restless spirits, ghosts that refuse to move on, lingering between the realms of the living and the dead. Some whisper their names, others warn against speaking of them at all. Ghost stories are as old as time. From the haunted castles of England to the shadowy figures in ancient temples of Japan, the world is filled with tales of encounters that defy logic. Some are passed down as myths, bedtime stories to keep children from wandering too far in the night. But what if I told you, not all ghost stories are just stories? There's one place, one story, that I've never been able to forget. A place that's been buried under layers of urban legends, a place so infamous that even the locals refuse to speak its name after dark. An abandoned asylum that was shut down decades ago, locked away, forgotten by time. Some say it was due to inhumane experiments, others claim it was something much, much worse. But the strangest part? No one really knows what happened to the last person who went inside. I thought the stories were exaggerations, folklore, just another town mystery meant to scare people away. But then, I saw something I can't explain. Something that made me question everything I thought I knew about the supernatural. And now, I need to tell you what really happened. This isn't just another ghost story, this is real. And if you're brave enough to keep watching, you'll see why some secrets should stay buried. Do you hear that? Because once you open the door to the other side, you might not be able to close it again. Some places carry a presence, a weight. You can feel it the moment you step inside, as if something unseen is watching you, waiting for you to notice it. That's exactly what people say about RAVENSWOOD Asylum. For over 50 years, it stood as a place of fear, a home to the forgotten and the abandoned. Patients came in, but not all of them left. Some say the walls still hold their screams. Others claim the building itself is cursed. But what if the asylum isn't empty? What if something or someone could never left? I swear I saw her, standing at the end of the hall. She was just staring at me, but she had no eyes, just darkness. And then she whispered my name. Over the years, investigators, urban explorers, and even skeptics have tried to uncover the truth. Most leave shaken, some refuse to speak about what they saw, and a few have never been seen again. David Holloway was one of them. a paranormal researcher who believed ghosts were just tricks of the mind until he entered Ravenswood. He recorded his journey, confident that he would prove the legends wrong, but after he stepped inside, he was never heard from again. What really happened that night? What did David see? And more importantly, why has no one else come back to tell the story? Tonight, we're going to retrace his steps. But be warned, some doors, once opened, can never be closed again. Turn back while you still can. To understand the horrors of Ravenswood, we have to go back to the very beginning. The asylum was built in 1892, meant to be a place of healing, a sanctuary for the mentally ill. But what was supposed to be a refuge quickly became something much darker. Dr. James Harrow was a respected physician, known for his radical treatments. But behind closed doors, his methods were far from humane. Patients were subjected to isolation, experimental drugs, and worst of all, electroshock therapy without anesthesia. The worst rumours? They spoke of something far more sinister, procedures that went beyond medical ethics, patients who cried out in agony only to be silenced forever, and those who resisted simply disappeared. As the years passed, the number of patients dwindled. Some were released, but many were never accounted for. Families who came searching for their loved ones were given the same answer: they no longer reside here. But where did they go? Then, in 1954, reports of strange occurrences began to surface. Staff members complained of hearing whispers, of seeing shadows moving in empty rooms. Some even claimed to see a woman in a tattered hospital gown, her face obscured, always watching. And then one night, Ravenswood's most infamous incident occurred. The security guard on duty, Richard Lawn, placed a frantic call to the police. 911, what's your emergency? She's here. She's standing at the end of the hall. I think she's coming closer. Who's there, sir? She doesn't have eyes. Oh, God. She doesn't have eyes. By the time police arrived, Richard was gone. His flashlight was found on the ground, still turned on. His last radio transmission, a single garbled whisper, "Don't let her in!" That was the final straw. Within weeks, Ravenswood was shut down, abandoned to the elements. But if you think the story ended there, you're mistaken. Because whatever haunted those halls never left, and those who dare to step inside may not walk out the same. They had heard the stories, they knew the risks, but they came anyway, armed with cameras, audio recorders, and an unshakable belief that ghosts were nothing more than echoes of the past. Did you hear that? Yeah. Sounded like it came from the East Wing. And then the air changed. The temperature plummeted. Their breath turned to mist in front of them. And that's when they saw it. She was there, staring at them, and then she started to move. Hello? She was there, staring at them, and then she started to move. A sudden high-pitched scream, distorted, inhuman. And just like that, she was gone. The investigators fled, their gear abandoned, but they would later discover something chilling. The same words spoken by the last man who saw her before he disappeared forever. The investigators barely made it out that night. Their footage was corrupted, their equipment drained of power, but the scratches on their arms, the whisper in the static, those remained. I don't know what we saw, I just know it wasn't human. And then there was the voice. The same chilling words whispered decades ago by the last man who walked these halls alone. He was never seen again. But perhaps he was never truly gone, and maybe neither is she. Over the years, more stories surfaced. People who dared to enter Ravenswood reported the same things. The sensation of being watched, the sound of faint giggling, doors locking on their own. Some never spoke of what they saw inside. Others, they never came out at all. Despite the warnings, despite the tragedies, thrill-seekers and investigators keep coming back, drawn by the same question. What really happened inside Ravenswood? And more importantly, who or what is still waiting in the dark? Some questions should never be answered. Some places should remain untouched, because once you enter, you may never leave. Now I ask you, do you believe? Have you ever had an experience that made you question reality itself? If so, share your story in the comments below. I read every single one. And who knows, your story might just be the next one we tell. And if you're brave enough for more tales of the unknown, click here for another chilling story. But be warned, once you enter the world of the supernatural, there's no going back. No going back.